we need to start boycotting these companies as soon as possible.
Man claims he traveled back in time to the 1950s.
It's back. It keeps peeking in here on me. Oh my goodness gracious, what the hell?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, The Famous Face Reacts. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'm going to give you a bit of information about what we do. We look at a compilation of thought-provoking TikToks, and between ourselves, we judge if they're true or not. Without further ado, let's get down to business.
I'm familiar with Terminator. Yeah. So pretty much, there's this thing called Skynet. They had this concept that AI would take over the entire world. They would try to perfect the world, meaning they would take out what's not perfect, and what's not perfect is humans. The whole world would be like robots. They would kill all humans, make like a whole robot society. It becomes an apocalypse. Humans are everywhere. Humans are trying to fight back against the robots. There's a whole war.
Were they losing?
They're losing bad. They're losing. But the theory was, what they actually wanted from the humans was for them to fight back, for them to work together against a common enemy. And after all of the dust settles and all of the terrible tragedies happen, humans will finally learn from their mistakes.
And learn that they need to like work together.
Yeah, because that's what it would take.
According to God, the original human was perfect. It's only through negative influences have humans become so dark. As for AI, that's made by companies who have their own agendas. So just be careful about what you're thinking and also what you're saying.
Well, when you see this stuff in America, you know what's really weird? All the state capitol buildings that don't really match up. Like, why did they build something that was straight out of ancient Rome in like Iowa? You know, like in Nebraska.
2,500 people live in a town somewhere, and they build a post office that has 700 rooms and is like an ancient castle. It's the same like with the Mormon temple, where they said they went out to Utah, you know, with horse and buggy and nobody else out there, and they supposedly built this wonder of the world castle with no rails and no dump trucks and no cranes, and it goes down 40 to 60 feet underground with more building. And
even think about like the 1 year timelines. And a lot of these buildings are 1 year wonders, where they created this very elaborate stone building in 1 year. But then you think about some of these places that have 1 year timelines, and then they work in like Syracuse, you know, Albany, Syracuse, New York, these crazy places like that. Explain to me how much work they're getting done in the dead of winter, when the roads would have been horrible. Then you add snow on it, and then the logistics make no sense. Even think, like I said, go back to World War II. We're told that the Germans were not necessarily defeated by the Russian army. They were defeated by the Russian winter. Yeah. Because even with the high-tech German stuff, they couldn't even move the equipment during a harsh Russian winter. So that is like the highest tech stuff in the 40s. And then you're talking about these things were built with horses and buggies in the 1800s.
It's amazing really when you think about it. These people with horse and carts, they're building structures that are amazing. We can't build them now. Well, we probably can, but we don't. Why were they building them so big, like 70 rooms? That's amazing. There's no need. So were they there before those people? Because you know when they say something was discovered or founded, it means it was already there.
This is the crisis of our era that we need more people paying attention to.
Half the country, Tucker, have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, and 30% of teens now have prediabetes. This was a condition that no pediatrician would have seen in their lifetime 50 years ago. 1% of Americans in 1950 had type 2 diabetes. We have 18% of teens with fatty liver disease, a disease that used to be in late-stage alcoholics. Cancer rates are skyrocketing in the young and the elderly. Young adult cancers are up 79%, and this is the first year in American history we're estimated to have over 2 million cases of cancer. 25% of American women are on an antidepressant medication. 40% of 18-year-olds have a mental health diagnosis. We have the highest infant and maternal mortality rate in the entire developed world, despite spending 2x on infant and maternal care than any other country.
The simple summary is the institutions that be are literally poisoning Americans with the food that we're receiving. But the good news is that a simple shift can turn it all around. So please share this with somebody who needs it.
Check the stats on that. You know, that's crazy, that is. Can you imagine that in this time of life where everything's so abundant and we have so much technology that so much people are suffering? It's a scary one when you think about it. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Man claims he traveled back in time to the 1950s.
Guys, I'm here in 1956. As you can tell behind me, I'm at
But
McDonald's.
that is an old McDonald's looking
How
sign.
do you deny this proof? Let me show you something. This is gonna blow your freaking mind. How do you even begin to deny this proof, guys? I'm literally here. This is McDonald's. Look at those beautiful McDonald's, guys. Do not deny. I'm gonna show you. Let me show you something else. This is really gonna blow your mind. I'm not even gonna lie. That guy bought me a cheeseburger. That's where people sit and eat. I mean, guys, how do you deny this proof?
Yo, this geezer's on the cap.
Here in Utah.
You think time travel's real? And you think he really traveled back to the 1950s?
This geezer, you know, I thought this was serious. This geezer's on some pants. I'm calling cap on that. Reason being, why is he holding his phone in a way where you can't see anything else around it? It's like he's holding it in a specific way just to make sure you only see those things he wants you to see. I call cap. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
In a house in Texas. It was a 2-story house and my parents were putting my little sister to sleep in her crib. Then they went on downstairs and I continued to play with my toys at the top of the staircase. For some random reason, I decided to look at the bottom of the staircase and I saw my sister crawling around on the ground. So I thought to myself, I wonder how she got down there. Then I remembered, my parents had just put her in the crib about 5 minutes ago. So while I stare at her, I realize that she's a little pale and she has huge black eyes, but otherwise she looks just like my sister. So naturally, I start screaming and my parents come running. I'm hysterical and my parents are asking me what's wrong. I point and I say, look, there's Sneha, she's at the bottom of the staircase. She was gone. Around my 18th birthday, my family and I took a trip to India. We were visiting my grandma and one night she decided to oil and braid my hair and my sister's hair. So as my grandma was braiding my sister's hair, she looked over at my mom and she said, Ritu, Sneha's twin would have been a girl. I look at my mom and I say, what twin? And my mom looks at me and says, Swasti, I never told you this, but I miscarried Sneha's twin. My parents come running.
I'm not too sure about this one. What do you guys think? That's just talking. There's no evidence of what she's saying. I'll leave it at that.
The Tartary civilization was likely destroyed between the 19th and 20th century through mud floods, energy weapons, and scheduled mass exterminations, and the Earth was suddenly deserted of billions of people. All the architecture and technology of this superior civilization was stolen and passed into the hands of the New World Order, who created the current ignorant civilization. Could it be that these alleged events of the 1800s were the final book burning, history removing knowledge of the Tartarian people?
Some beautiful buildings.
We need to start boycotting these companies as soon as possible. Out of all the things you can write on this customizable can, there's one thing and only one thing that you cannot write. So writing Allah loves you is fine, right? Okay. So what else are we going to type in? Wait till you see what you're not allowed to say. Buddha loves you. Okay, so you can say the name of really anyone, right? Or at least it appears that way. And just know it's not just Coke cans. It's news, it's TV, it's public sports events. Jesus. Oh wait, sadly we cannot automatically allow this text on the can. So we cannot put Jesus on that can. Satan. You can write Satan on these cans, but you cannot write Jesus? All Christians need to start boycotting all things that will not allow Jesus. And for the name legalist, Jesus is not Zeus. Zeus is quite literally Zeus, taken from Jupiter in English as well. Jesus, Jesus, Yehoshua.
That's real. That's something that I do agree with. I can't say it's cap, because at the end of the day, if you can't type it in, they're not letting you. Now, there must be an agenda why they don't want the word Jesus on Coke cans, but they're allowing other known gods to be on there. That's amazing. What do you guys think?
Have you met Diddy?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What was that look? What happened?
They party.
Explain.
He's a cool friend of mine.
He's
one
a
of
cool
my best friends. I love him. There's nothing else to say about Diddy. Everybody knows I love Diddy, man.
Oh, you ain't gonna say it. Diddy's like, you better not talk about my...
No, it's not even that.
Better not.
It's not even that. It ain't even got nothing to do with that. Everybody know I got respect for Diddy. I love Diddy. Everybody try to come at Diddy. Why am I make it harder for my mans?
You
Yo,
what?
I love my mans.
But when I interviewed Aubrey O'Day, she told me that basically like Diddy's team was offering her money not to do the interview.
No.
Have you had those conversations? Like, hey, don't mention me on No Jumper, and I'll give you.
No.
No.
Hell no.
Give you some pussy.
You know I tell you. You know I will tell you.
I don't know that.
As we have all been watching the news and social media, we know about the 3 fires that are ongoing in Southern California. Well, it got me to thinking. Normally when we see natural disasters or some sort of disasters, people tend to see UFO sightings. And there has been a sighting. Take a look at this. This is actually recorded by a witness who states it was in Gardenia, California. And what it looks like is a low-flying UFO.
Interesting.
But it's up to you to decide. Is this a UFO? Or
Let's
is
have a
this
look at this.
a plane, drone, something else? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
These are the lost flights of the old world. These are scenes you were never shown in history class. Imagine a world where any high-rise could be an airport, where there's no sitting around for hours on end at an airport terminal, because your apartment or office could be an airport terminal, where no ice walls or remote regions were unreachable. This is not some world imagined in our far-off future. This was our past. A past that was far more advanced than any textbook would show us. A past with beautiful grand architecture, unreplicated today. A past with free energy and free flight. A past that had to be erased, altered, and rewritten for us to ever accept this dystopian future we live in. History is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. A set of lies they agreed upon and taught to us as unquestioning truth. Well, as always, question everything, friends. Until next time.
A couple of signs and symptoms to show that you have shifted timelines. First of all, number one is you just know. You know in your heart that you have jumped timelines. It's just a knowing. There's no other way of explaining it. 2, you feel different. Maybe you're feeling the energy around you more. You're feeling more sensitive. Maybe you have a knowing about what's going to happen. Maybe life is just in flow and it feels freaking amazing. You might see physical differences in your new timeline. So maybe there's a tree somewhere that never used to be tree. Maybe a house on the end of your street looks different. The fence is different. Something catches your eye and you're like, that was not there before. People are acting different around you. So maybe people who you were really close to or spoke to every day are now not really speaking to you, or you hardly hear from them. That's because you've shifted frequencies and you're maybe out of alignment with them now, maybe on a different trajectory before. So these are some of just the signs and symptoms that you might be experiencing.
ISS photography, where are the stars? Well, they're right here. Yep, they're right there. And look at all this lightning. This is from Matthew Dominic. He's an astronaut on the International Space Station right now, and he just took this. So he was really excited to capture all of this lightning. And then also, you can see the stars. Now, he doesn't post here, he posts somewhere else, but Matthew Dominic asked us all, once they crossed over the ocean here, now this is a time lapse, so this is moving quicker than the ISS does in real time, but after crossing this ocean, you can see these red lights, and he said they're north of mainland Japan, and he was asking, does anybody know what they are? There they are. See them? Does anybody know what those are? Any idea, guys? Answer below in the comments. Now, you can see all those stars. I think that's Orion. That's Orion. And part of the ISS there, part of the ISS down on the bottom left that the red's going into. And now we're going to see the sunrise. And you're going to see just how bright the sun is compared to those stars. So much so that you would have to really dim everything down. You wouldn't be able to see the stars anymore just to see Earth. Hope that helps. Matt.
I'm going to be honest with you. That looks totally CGI to me. And anything that's not like you can't really make out with the human eye as real, I'm going to have to leave that alone. Unless you guys can tell me in the comments what you think about that. Anything that's CGI, personally, does it look CGI? I'd say so. I wouldn't agree with that. I think that's cap. If you guys think different, let me know, because there's some intelligent people out there who know about these things. I'm not too clued up with that. Let me know.
Represents the will. And notice how it's bulged in the top part, which is the will. And I tell people, I've had clients who had that thumb configuration, and I tell them the first thing they do is don't become friendly with alcohol, particularly if they are fire signs like Aries and Leo. Sagittarius not that much,
I'm
but
good.
Aries and Leo, I know this. And or people born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. Here's what I mean. This will be people, for example, who will go into a rage, and then when they snap out of it, they done did damage or killed a person. That's what they call the murderous thumb. And it cost over the years now, they just say it's a bulbous thumb. But I tell all of my clients whose hands I see, obviously, that one, drinking should be kept to a minimum, especially under stressful, tension, or argumentative modes, because they will snap out of it. They will just snap. And by the time they come to their senses, the deed has been done. There are some differences too. Now here in this case, you see two thumbs. One is bulbous, one is not. The one on the right is what
I'm going to have to recheck my thumb quickly, you know.
The one on the left is the bulbous thumb, who could lose their temper very easily. All right. And it also depends on the headline of the person too. See, now in this case, both thumbs are bulbous. All right. So to me, that really emphasizes it even more so that this person should definitely keep their cool, don't react and stuff.
Yo, now that's scary. Because I know people, I got an uncle who's got a thumb like that. He ain't a murderer, but he does like a drink. And actually, he's quite calm most of the time until you get him irate. And then he will give you a good strangle. But I don't think he's a murderer. What do you guys think about that?
By biblical Nephilim giants. From well-known stories such as the story of the giant of Kandahar, where U.S. soldiers were attacked by what they called a 13-foot-tall man, to lesser-known stories such as what I'm about to tell you about. These particular giants are referred to as the Solomon Giants. Following their attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the Japanese Imperial Navy occupied islands throughout the western Pacific Ocean. Japan's goal was to create a defensive buffer against attack from the United States and its allies, one that would ensure Japan mastery over East Asia and the Southwest Pacific. Japanese forces had more to contend with than Allied soldiers on the Solomon Islands. While traversing the island's numerous remote, thick rainforests, the soldiers often reported coming across giant, hairy hominids, ranging from 10 to 15 feet in height, and covered in long brown to reddish-brown hair, with prominent brows, flat noses, and wide mouths. The creatures had immense arms, and were known on occasion to even brandish crude weapons, such as clubs.
So the Diddy situation just got even worse, but not just for Diddy, because the house of cards is crumbling. Is it a coincidence that all these CEOs are now stepping down as soon as Diddy got arrested? I think not, but here's a list of all these CEOs stepping down. CEO of 300 Entertainment, Kevin Liles, announced his resignation on 9/17. CEO of Nike, John Donahoe, announced his resignation on 9/19. Kaz Kobayashi, CEO of Warner Music Japan, and announced his resignation on 9/18. Max Lusada, CEO of Recorded Music, announced his resignation on 8/1. Julie Greenwald, Atlantic Group Chairman, announces her resignation 8/6. Randy Goodman, Sony Music Nashville Chairman and CEO, announces his resignation on 9/18. The dominoes are starting to fall. Cat Williams must be sidekick because he did tell us that 2024 was the year.
That's a whole lot of resignations.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TD Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Just how tall were the Nephilim giants?
warrior kings who walked the earth before and after the flood. There are at least 5 major sources from the BC period, claiming several different heights for the giants. So what are they, and which height is most likely correct? Many are skeptical about the existence of the giants, not just because of their bizarre origin, but because they can't see a way to reconcile the giants with modern science and archaeological discoveries. But did you know some ancient sources suggest a more realistic height for the Nephilim giants? And what the Bible says about Goliath's height might not mean what we think it means. Let's do some detective work. This was a very difficult study. It took me hours and a couple of weeks because I had to read a bunch of manuscripts and a 35-page academic research paper. I read it, so you don't have to. But if you're a glutton for punishment, I'm going to put the link in the description below.
Yep, that'll be a great
Source number
thing to
1,
do.
First Enoch. Arguably the most famous comprehensive writing we have on the Nephilim giants. In Enoch, and arguably the Old Testament, the giants have a supernatural origin. They're the offspring of fallen angels and human women, so you can expect that they might have some unusual features.
So guys, that's the end of episode 12. Some weird thought-provoking stuff there. Get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.